What's up, my fat friend? Snake Diet Dan here to talk to you about the difference between a calorie deficit and fasting. So first of all, there's this group of people, I would say just a handful, that call themselves doctors, okay? They got these little pieces of toilet paper with skid marks on them that they hang on their wall, and they call it a PhD, okay? I'm not talking about all doctors, I'm talking specifically about a few. And they make their money off of Instagram and off of telling you what's awesome and telling you what's science and what's not science. But they're very hypocritical about it. And furthermore, they used to have this thing in their head called a brain, okay? So this is what their craniums look like. If you could imagine their cranium being like that, okay? And there used to be a brain in here. And then all of a sudden they got this thing, it's called an ego. It just kind of pushes their brain out their ears and just kind of inserts itself, so that these people, they act like they know everything, but they don't actually know what they're fucking talking about as far as common sense goes, okay? So that's what I'm here to address right now. These people say that fasting only works because it is a caloric deficit. That's just wrong. It's stupid. Let me say this real slow for you guys. And I know people watching that follow me and the people with common sense out there. I'm not saying this for you guys because you guys know this. I'm saying this for the PhDs that can't seem to wrap their head around it. You do not have to be in a caloric deficit to see the benefits of fasting. Okay? I will give you an example. If I were to go right now and not eat for 47 hours straight, technically, I'm in a caloric deficit. But if I were to eat 2 times my maintenance calories in a small eating window, that means that I do not have any daily caloric deficit, period. I ate the same amount of calories as I would eating multiple meals a day in a small window. Now I just had 2 days worth of healing through autophagy that I would not have otherwise seen while eating maintenance calories. I'm not in a daily caloric deficit, yet I've seen the benefits of fasting. Okay, now let's go and apply that to someone else. Let's take a guy who's 5'10", let's say even 6 feet, doesn't matter, 120 pounds. This guy's a beanpole. You can see his ribs, you can see his hip bones, you can see his shoulder bones. And this guy wants to elicit an autophagy response to deal with some of the health issues that he has. Now, you can't deny autophagy if you're a doctor, because in 2016 there was a Nobel Prize given out for it. So you have to acknowledge that autophagy exists. And most of these people say that autophagy exists because of a caloric deficit. Now, what happens if you put this guy on a linear caloric deficit eating multiple meals a day? Basically, you starve him. Basically, this guy withers up to less than he is and probably ends up more sick and eventually dying, because you're going to have multiple meal a day caloric deficits are linear. They have to be linear. Can you do intermittent caloric deficits for this guy? What's that going to do? Nothing. Because autophagy is not an on-off switch. It's not like, oh, I'm in a bit of a caloric deficit, so I'm getting the benefits of autophagy. No, there's levels. Okay? And fasting gives you a much higher level than a basic caloric deficit eating multiple meals a day. So this guy on his linear multiple meal a day caloric deficit is going to likely get worse or die. Now if I take this guy, I fast him for 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough for this guy because he's already pretty damn close to starvation mode. But then what we can do from there is either give him maintenance or above maintenance calories. Put him in a calorie surplus while having him lift weights, and he will put on quality mass while getting the benefits of autophagy and healing his body to a much greater degree than he was at base maintenance calories or in a calorie deficit. Do you understand now why your theory about the calorie deficit itself is wrong? Now, when you say that fasting only works because of a calorie deficit, it does work as a caloric deficit, an extreme caloric deficit for fat loss. Yes. Okay? Yes. That's why it works for fat loss. Exactly. But you cannot say there are no benefits to fasting that you cannot see with a caloric deficit. So that's it. Love the rest of you guys. To the guys talking shit, suck it. Love yous. Peace.